So Ram is canceling all EcoDiesel production starting this January. Let's talk about why I think that is and the future of the diesel engine in the pickup truck segment. What is going on today, guys? My name's Alex. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are at my shop here. Well, there's my truck over there, but I've been working on that trailer. Gross. Then I got this shunt truck over here, even grosser. Let me show you what's going on here. So there's a communication error somewhere in the harness, most likely. I still don't really know, but that's what I'm working on. Not the prettiest sight, especially because it's a cab over and everything's kind of buried in there. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. But anyways, let's get into the video. So I hope everyone had a good weekend, but today we're going to talk about the EcoDiesel and it officially being discontinued starting this January of 2023. I know in my past video I've talked about how we knew that they were going to cancel the EcoDiesel, but we didn't really know the official date. So now that we officially know that January 2023 they will officially stop the production of the EcoDiesel, I figured to make a video about it, talk about it, and share my opinions as to just maybe why Ram thought it was a good idea to discontinue this engine. So the EcoDiesel first came out in 2014 in the Ram 1500. Now, obviously it's gonna last till 2022, so that's gonna be an 8-year span of the EcoDiesel engine. In that 8-year span, there was 3 different generations, and if you guys have been following the channel, you'll know that I don't particularly like the EcoDiesel. I just think it's not a very well-made engine. And if you guys are more interested in the EcoDiesel and its issues, I made a really good video maybe about a year ago. I'll link it down in the description with my opinion as a licensed diesel mechanic on what I thought about it and some issues that I thought were pretty important about the EcoDiesel. So I'll link that down below if you guys are interested. Now, the 3-liter V6 EcoDiesel engine was an Italian-made engine and originally designed for a marine purpose in like the mid-2000s. And right off the bat, I think that's really what put this engine in the ground, is the fact that it was not originally designed to run with an emission system, which all modern diesels have to do now. Back in 2014, Ram was the first manufacturer to put a modern diesel engine in the 1500 pickup segment. And to be honest, I think it's a fantastic idea because of the efficiency of a diesel engine. So to put that in perspective, a diesel engine has a greater thermal efficiency than a gas engine. So what does that exactly mean? Well, thermal efficiency means how well an engine puts chemical energy into mechanical energy, into actually turning the wheels. And diesel engines do it much better. A diesel engine normally has a 40 to 45% thermal efficiency, whereas a gas engine has a thermal efficiency rating right around 25% generally. So right there, that is an efficiency benefit for a diesel engine. The other thing is that diesel fuel in general has more energy per liter than gasoline. And then lastly, in 2014, the price of diesel tended to be actually cheaper than gasoline. So those are 3 reasons why Ram probably thought it was a fantastic idea to put a diesel in a 1500. Now the key here is that in 2014, you could get all that fuel economy out of the EcoDiesel, but you could still tow almost 8,000 pounds and you would have over 400 foot-pounds of torque, which was actually more than the 5.7 HEMI. So it was kind of the best of both worlds, and that's why I think Ram really liked the idea. So on paper, it does sound like a fantastic idea. It sounds like a great engine. But here's where I think that Ram kind of missed the boat, and it's with the emission systems, like I mentioned earlier. So in 2012, the EPA mandated that all diesel trucks will need to have an SCR system, or a selective catalytic reducer. And what that basically does, that's where your DEF goes. So the point of it is to reduce your nitric oxide, and the DEF goes in there, and there's a chemical reaction, and so on and so forth. Won't bore you with the science, but that was mandated, it was brand new, and I would probably imagine that in 2012, the Ram engineers were kind of messing with the idea of putting the EcoDiesel in the Ram 1500 because it came out in 2014. So realistically, probably around 2012 was when they were really designing it to go into the Ram 1500. And they probably didn't really take into consideration the modern diesel engine and all the emissions problems that would probably come about in the future with diesel engines that we face today. So I think perhaps maybe there just wasn't enough real world data, real world research with this new emission system that was going to be mandated right when this new EcoDiesel came out. And perhaps Ram just really wasn't aware of the issues that were going to happen. Now, it's not to say that the EcoDiesel itself, just the engine, is not flawed. I still think it's not necessarily the best engine. I think it's kind of a light duty diesel. Maybe not the perfect application for a pickup truck. However, this same EcoDiesel without the emissions would have a much better lifespan. It would run much better. There's no doubt about it. The other issue I think that kind of put the EcoDiesel in the grave was the fact that it tended to attract people who, let's just say, lived in the city. People who kind of wanted to have a very fuel efficient truck and not have a gas guzzling V8 driving around town, but still have the ability to maybe tow their camper trailer in the summer, you know, into the mountains or something like that. So that's the type of consumer that this engine was attracting. However, in reality, a diesel engine or a modern diesel engine with a modern emission system really needs to be driven, you know, a lot of kilometers to get hot every time it runs in order to run efficiently and have a good lifespan of the engine. So with those types of people buying the EcoDiesel, it just resulted in a lot of emissions problem, a lot of headaches. I just don't think Ram necessarily foresaw that. Now it's interesting because Ford actually canceled their diesel engine in their F-150s. It was I think it was the smaller PowerStroke. It was a 3-liter V6, kind of like the EcoDiesel actually. And it debuted in 2018 and didn't even make it as far as the EcoDiesel did. I think it was canceled in 2021 or July of 2021, I believe. And so it's interesting, that engine only made it 3 years in the Ford F-150. Ford claims it's because of just honestly, people weren't buying it. They said that people were more interested in buying the V6 EcoBoost, and so they canceled just because of lack of sellability. So it's interesting. I don't know if that's really the truth. That's what Ford claims, but maybe Ford saw the writing on the wall and the fact that modern diesel engines just really aren't what they used to be, and maybe they just canceled the project before it got too out of hand. The only diesel engine that remains in the 1500 segment is in GM. They have the 3-liter Duramax, which I've actually heard good things about. People seem to actually really like it, and I haven't heard anything about GM planning on canceling it. So that's interesting. I'd love to review that engine, to be honest, in the future. But as of right now, that is the only diesel engine in the segment, which is interesting because you would think a diesel engine in a pickup truck would be pretty advantageous, but obviously we are seeing that may not be the case. So I guess the key question is if diesel engines are still the reliable, long-lasting power plants that they were known to be. And I don't think the answer is necessarily black and white, but I don't necessarily see diesel engines coming back into the 1500 segment as of right now, unless there is something dramatic that changes. Simply because even the price of diesel, is like 40% higher than gasoline right now where I live, and that alone just kind of cancels any efficiency benefit. And my other point was going to be that in the 1500 segment, it seems like manufacturers only bring in diesel engines simply for efficiency, whereas you see in the HD lineup, the diesel engines are much more there to be, you know, as a utility use because they can tow more. There's more power coming out of them versus the gasoline engine, where in the 1500 lineup, Ram, Chevy, Ford, it's all the same. Their gas engines are actually the more powerful engines, and the diesel engine is much more of a fuel efficient option. And I think that's why in the 1500 segment, we're just probably not going to see any more diesel engines. And I think manufacturers and consumers are all coming to the same conclusion that diesel engines are not what they used to be. They're not as reliable, unfortunately. There tends to be more issues than the gasoline engine, and they're just no longer the simple, reliable diesel engine. There's a lot of complicated things that can go wrong. For example, like Ford has brought out the 7.3 liter gas engine in their HD lineup because they realize that a lot of fleets don't want to deal with modern diesel problems, D-rates, you know, even the expense of a diesel. It's actually like 12 grand to buy a diesel engine. So why not just take the base gasoline engine and run with it? So to wrap things up, guys, I think Ram had a great idea in 2014 with a diesel engine in the 1500 segment. At that time, it did make sense. And I think people were really craving a fuel efficient truck that could also tow a lot, and a diesel engine provided exactly that. Now, I think where Ram went wrong was the application of that idea. I think the EcoDiesel was not necessarily a good engine. I don't think they were necessarily prepared to deal with all the emission crap that was gonna come, all the issues involving emission. And in their defense, right now, they couldn't have predicted diesel prices being so high. So I think all three of those reasons is why Ram probably said that they need to terminate the project. And then the fourth reason why I believe they're canceling this is because, little silver lining here, is the new 3-liter twin-turbo Hurricane engine is going to be dropping in the Ram 1500s pretty soon. So I think all of those reasons is why the EcoDiesel is no longer going to be a thing. Now, only time will tell whether or not this new 3-liter engine, twin turbo, will be a better efficient pickup truck engine. I imagine that hopefully Ram learned from their lessons and, you know, will give you guys a good, reliable, somewhat fuel efficient pickup truck engine in this new twin turbo Hurricane engine. Anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap up the video for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, I can't wait to get my hands on that new Hurricane engine. I'm pretty excited about that. But anyways, enough of me. We'll see you in the next freaking video.